Hey Montana, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm doing good. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Uh,
Just got done doing all the testing for USADA and stuff.
yeah, tell me about that. I mean, at least they didn't come knocking at your door at like 6 a.m., right?
Yeah, no, they showed up at our practice, but we didn't have to use the restroom, so they had to follow us to our house and then kind of waited a while till we had to use the restroom and then finally finally got out of here like 10 minutes ago.
Oh, all right. How many times have you been tested since the Ultimate Fighter?
I've been tested 3 times.
Okay, nice, nice. All right. Before we talk about your fight, it took quite a while to see you back in action. I mean, you haven't fought since December, the last TUF Finale, so that will be like 7 months. I mean, is there a reason for that, or is that
No,
just a yeah?
I was trying to get in there as soon as possible. I was messaging them and I was on them since January asking for a fight. But I think there was a lot of them, a lot of the 125ers in that fought on that card were trying to do the same. So I don't think they could get everybody on as soon as they wanted. So they just kind of spread us out.
I see. And was this the first fight they offered you?
What was that?
Is this the first fight that they offered you?
Yes, this was the first fight they offered me.
All right, you're taking on Rachael Ostovich, a good friend of yours in the show. Were you surprised when they offered you Rachel?
Um, No, I wasn't really surprised. I mean, I knew I'd be fighting anybody. The 125 division isn't that big right now,
Yeah,
and shoot, I'm sure. Yeah, I could have been anybody in the house or any of the new people going down in weight classes, but they said she accepted the fight, and then they offered it to me, and I accepted it. So
and did you guys talk at all since the booking of the fight? Because I know you were good friends on the show.
no, we haven't talked at all.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's no bad blood. I mean, we both know this is what we have to do for our families. I mean, we both have to provide for our families, so we can't just say no to fights just because you hung out with them a little bit or talked to them. I mean, you got to take whatever the UFC gives you, especially if they're only giving fights every 6 months.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Because you spent a
Yeah.
lot of time around her. You were both on Team Gaethje. I mean, what do you make of her as an opponent, and how would you break down her skill set?
I think she's well rounded. She definitely has a lot of fights. And it'll be a good fight. I know she's tough, so I mean, I want to get a finish for sure, but I mean, I think she's a cool girl, and I don't dislike her at all. I think it'll be a good fight.
And would you say that you're both kind of at an advantage having trained together? I mean, around each other for a while, or do you feel like you're a completely different fighter since the show?
Um, I don't feel like we trained enough together to know what each other are good at.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I don't think we trained too much together.
All right. Well,
And
why is that? Was she not one of your main like training partners during the show? How did it work out like on the show? Were there certain girls that you were working with more than the others?
yeah, there were a few I was working with, and then on Team Gaethje, we didn't really like go full out and spar each other. It
Okay.
was more a lot of it was a lot of drilling, and I don't feel like you get to know somebody unless you're like in the cage with them, fighting with them. I mean, I think she's when I watch her fight, I think she's a completely different fighter when she gets in there. I think she kind of trains like messes around, I feel like, but when she gets in there, she definitely is one of those fighters that turns it on.
I see. And you're fighting in Vegas again, tough finale against a familiar face. Does this feel like kind of a continuation or the next stage of the tough
Yeah.
after? Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a continuation. I'm kind of tired of fighting
Uh,
on the tough shows, but I mean, I had to take whatever they would give me, and hopefully the next one won't be.
yeah, for sure. And the 125 division is pretty new, like you said. I mean, after Jillian Robertson, I mean, she had a fight booked. She was one of the first ones. She won this past weekend. I don't know if you noticed, but you kind of dropped off out of the rankings. Do you pay attention to that stuff or care about it at all, or is it because it's a fairly new division, doesn't really matter?
I kind of look at some of the stuff that pops up, and I see that I thought I was in like top 10 or something, but I guess it kind of really doesn't matter because
Mm-hmm.
After this fight, I'm sure I'll be ranked a little bit higher, maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter until I'm like top 5.
All
But
right.
I'm just gonna keep fighting whoever they give me and hopefully move up.
Definitely. And the champ Nico Montano, I mean, someone you fought during the show, she's been dealing with a lot of injuries and hasn't fought since the show. She was fairly upset at Ariel. I don't know if you saw that incident for kind of
Yeah.
insinuating that she didn't want to fight Valentina. Yeah, what did you make of that whole situation? Because I know you know her well and you were with her in the show and on her team and fought her and everything.
Yeah, I don't think she was scared to fight her at all. I mean, she had a legitimate reason for not taking the fight as soon as they wanted her to. I mean, she had a lot of problems going on, and I mean, yeah, I don't think it was her fault for that, and I don't think she's scared of her either.
I see. And where do you feel like a win over Rachel would put you in the division? I mean, surely you're hoping to get back into the rankings, but do you feel like with the division being fairly new that the path to the top may not be as long as it normally would be if it was any other division?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, most of the divisions have like 50 plus fighters in them. I think we only have like maybe 25. So yeah, I think this win and maybe another win, and hopefully I'll be one of the higher up 125ers. I don't think it'll take too long.
And we look at the TUF show. I mean, it's always nice on the Ultimate Fighter when they're introducing a new weight class. It was a fun season and a lot of talented girls on that season. But do you feel like now that it took quite a bit to book you the next fight, do you feel like maybe that momentum from the show is gone a little bit? I mean, do you feel that way? Like maybe they should have booked you guys earlier because we were getting excited that there was a new division in the UFC.
Yeah, I guess I never really thought about that. How the fans would think. But yeah, I definitely think they probably should have put a few other people on the. Mark, can you stop? Yeah, they should have put a few other people closer to that because I feel like maybe everyone's starting to forget about that show and forget about us girls. But I think this month and next month there's going to be a handful of us girls that are going to be fighting.
Because I sensed a genuine sense of excitement from the fans when I posted that on my page and when people were talking about it on Twitter. I sensed a lot of people were really excited with this matchup specifically and just in general to see finally this flyweight division gets a fight from that season.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess Barb and Roxanne are fighting on it too. So
Yep,
yeah, it'll be good. It'll be
absolutely.
good for.
Yeah, yeah. And earlier in your career, you fought at 115. Are you content now at 125? I mean, what's the cut generally like for you?
Yeah, I don't know if I do 115 again. That's a hard time for me.
Okay.
Because I'm a taller girl. I'm 5'7" and I walk around at like 145. So 115 is very hard to get down to, but I feel like 125 is definitely where I'm gonna stay at.
Nice. A couple more questions. The early weigh-ins have been such a hot topic. I mean, a lot of people missing weight, and Dana White is now saying that you guys are going to go back to the 4 p.m. weigh-ins. What's your thought on that? I mean, which one do you prefer?
I feel like either way, I would be just fine. I mean, basically my whole career, besides my last UFC fight, was weigh-ins were at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. So, I mean, I would definitely prefer the earlier weigh-ins because I'm more of a morning person, and I'd like to get the cut done in the morning and then have the rest of the day to just chill. Yeah, I would definitely prefer that morning weigh-ins.
And White
I
can.
don't think.
Yeah, sorry. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think. I think most of the fighters, from what I hear, want to keep those early weigh-ins. So I don't know why he's trying to change them. I think some of the fighters are just are like making an excuse, maybe using that as an excuse for the ones that are having trouble making the weight. But I don't think that should be an excuse.
Yeah, because statistically, it's weird because I ask this question to every single fighter because I'm just curious, and it's like every single person says they prefer the early weigh-ins, but statistically, it's it's been like not in the favor of that. And I don't know, Dana White was saying like I've asked a lot of fighters and they all said they want the later weigh-ins, but I don't think anybody actually answered that. So I don't know if he's trying to like support his argument, but I'm just curious, like, why do you think statistically that people have been missing a lot of weight? Like, what do you think the issue is, and why the early weigh-ins haven't worked for a lot of people?
Um, I guess the only way I could see it is, I guess most fighters I know usually go to sleep, go to bed late, and wake up late. So when they're having them do the early weigh-ins, they have to wake up a lot earlier and start cutting the weight, and they're not, I guess they think they're not getting proper sleep or whatever, and it's just like cutting into their day. But I feel like when it's time to cut weight that week of the fight, I can't sleep that good anyway because I'm starving. So when I finally make weight, that's when I sleep the best after you get to rehydrate and all that.
Yeah.
But maybe that could be part of it.
Yeah, definitely. And what are weight cuts normally like? I mean, do you work with a nutritionist or do you kind of have it down yourself?
Yeah, I don't have a nutritionist. I kind of have it down just from all the fights I've had. I don't really have a science to it. I just go with what how my body feels.
And what's one thing like when you're done with the weight cut, you weigh in? What's the first thing that you eat?
I drink a lot of Pedialyte and coconut water, and then fruit.
Oh, all right. Because most people actually answer pasta, so I was curious. I'm like, it's pretty heavy, but like, all
Yeah,
right.
I usually wait a little bit for that. I gotta put like a peanut butter jelly sandwich and some fruit in my belly, and then I go eat later, eat some pasta.
Nice. And a couple more. I said that before, but when there was a card in Texas back in February, I remember I had asked you, I'm like, if there were any fight news. Were you disappointed that you weren't able to get on that Texas card?
Yeah and no, because
Okay.
I don't know how I'd feel about fighting in front of my home crowd yet. I feel like I want to get a few more fights
Okay.
where nobody really knows me first, just because I still get nervous out there.
Okay.
But it still would have been cool.
Absolutely. And the TUF Finale is not so bad because it's part of that really big Vegas weekend. So at least there's an advantage to that because then it's kind of like a marathon for the MMA fans. They get to just watch a couple events in a row.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah, good.
one last thing. I really appreciate your time. How do you see this fight with Rachel playing out? Do you envision a certain outcome?
I definitely want to finish. I want to get that 50,000 bonus. That would be nice. I don't
Awesome.
want to get too much into detail into game plan, but definitely looking for the finish.
Awesome. Well, Montana, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And really looking forward to the fight. I got personally really excited when they booked this matchup. It's good to see the flyweight division getting going. So thank you so much for your time and best of luck in July.
Awesome. Thank you.